point you meet Tony Yayo? You know Tony Yayo since you were a kid?
I know Tony Yayo since I was a kid, yeah. He was signed to not signed, because they wasn't signed, but they was in an undergroup called Rags to Riches. It was him, Fat Shy, AKA DJ Rough Hands, God bless the dead, and my man Katif, God bless the dead. They call him Huey P.
This guy, known as Domination, had people locked in from the second he sat down with Cam'ron. Right away, he started putting major stories tied to 50 Cent and G-Unit under the spotlight, bringing up everything from the long-discussed claims about Tony Yayo allegedly getting slapped to the many different stories and opinions surrounding the shooting involving 50 Cent.
Do you remember how you guys met? Did you guys go to school together?
No, we ain't go to school together. Yayo like 10 years older than me. We ain't go to school together. We met on the block, 134 God Broad.
Okay, so these were like your big homies that you looked up to.
He was never my big homies. I never looked up to him, ever in my life.
He wasn't holding back, and every topic seemed bigger than the last. The interview quickly turned into the kind of conversation that had fans running clips back over and over again, breaking down every comment and arguing about what was fact, what was rumor, and what really happened behind the scenes. Social media lit up as people picked apart every detail and shared their own takes. One of the biggest attention-grabbing moments came when the discussion shifted to Tony Yayo and the way some people view him as a respected big homie figure. That was the point where things took a surprising turn and got a lot of people talking. Domination's reaction looked packed with disbelief, almost like he couldn't understand why anyone would see Tony Yayo in that role.
You don't want a problem.
No, I don't think you
I don't ever want a problem. But when they say they want a problem, I say no problem. That's it. It makes people feel like I want trouble because I don't have a problem.
That response caught many listeners completely off guard because Tony Yayo has spent years with a reputation for being loyal, dependable, and standing by his people. His name was rarely connected to public humiliation or stories that seriously hurt his image, which made Domination's comments land with even more shock and controversy.
What would you think? What would you say your like wildest situation growing up there?
The wildest situation? Man, I don't think that's for the camera. So there was a time that we was on the block and a dude walked through with his girl, and he walked through a whole bunch of dudes because our block is...
A lot of fans were left asking the same question. What caused such a strong reaction from Domination? And why did he seem so uncomfortable with the idea of Tony Yayo having that level of respect and status? The moment sparked plenty of discussion online, with people trying to figure out what was really behind his response. Some viewers felt there had to be more to the story than what was being said on the surface. The conversation got even more heated when Domination started speaking about his history with 50 Cent, a relationship that many people remember as being filled with friction, disagreements, and plenty of drama. For longtime followers, it was a reminder of a chapter that still gets talked about years later whenever these names come up together. Anyone who isn't familiar with that history would probably have to do some research because the stories connected to that circle continue to generate debate and speculation even today.
Any given day is flooded. It's not like that now, but it was 20, 30 guys on the block, and when the guy walked by, dudes threw a duck sauce at his head. And it was in retrospect, it was corny, but everybody was laughing about it. I really wasn't jacking it, but that's one of the scenarios. But
okay, what happened after you guys threw the duck sauce at him?
I mean, what you gonna do? You got 20, 30 people.
The past has a way of resurfacing, especially when old rivalries and unresolved issues are brought back into the spotlight. Before the interview moved on from Tony Yayo, Domination brought up another story that has circulated for years, involving claims that Tony Yayo was slapped during a dice game. But instead of simply repeating the story, he questioned how believable it actually was. His point was simple. When people are asked about the craziest thing they've ever experienced, most expect a shocking or life-changing story right away, not something that seems relatively minor by comparison. He even joked that throwing candy at someone's head wasn't exactly the kind of story that would leave a room stunned or have people talking for years. In his view, it just didn't match the level of shock that some were attaching to it.
What is a dude really gonna do? It was really like some bully, so I really didn't respect it, right? But that's one of the wild situations, you know? But there's other situations that it been dice games, like Tony Yayo was at a dice game, he was rolling dice with somebody and left, he got smacked, Guns came out. It was a Wild Wild West situation.
According to Domination, plenty of people from regular neighborhoods have stories that sound just as wild, if not wilder, so he couldn't understand why that particular incident was being treated like some untouchable legendary moment. That take immediately got attention because it challenged a story that has been discussed for a long time. Those comments added even more drama to an interview that was already overflowing with controversy, debate, and non-stop reactions. Viewers were trying to sort through what might be fact, what was personal opinion, and what could simply be adding more buzz to an already heavily discussed history. That's why the timeline of these stories never fully made sense to him from the start. He kept focusing on the order of events and questioning why certain details seemed to be told in that specific sequence. His argument was straightforward. If the Tony Yayo situation really happened the way some people have described it over the years, then why wasn't that the first story mentioned right out of the gate? That question seemed to sit at the center of his skepticism.
Rough Hands used to have a studio in his basement. It was like a makeshift studio. It didn't really produce the best quality, but we was there. Like 50 would record his thing, right? Nothing to do with us. He's just from our block. And we used to go record our parts. We was 134 All-Stars, right?
Why begin with a story that sounds relatively minor and then suddenly jump into claims about Tony Yayo allegedly getting slapped, heated arguments breaking out, and reports that weapons were involved? To Domination, that dramatic jump made the entire sequence feel unusual from the start. It was one of the main reasons he kept questioning whether the story was being told in a way that truly made sense. He repeatedly looked at how the events were lined up and asked whether all the pieces actually fit together the way they were being presented.
There was a particular moment that I recall that there was an artist named Storm P, right? And this was after 50 got stabbed. There was an artist named Storm P. I was in the studio. My man Drake Product was in the studio.
The more he examined it, the more he seemed convinced that certain parts deserved a closer look and more explanation. In his view, if an event was really as shocking and unforgettable as some people claimed, it would probably be the very first thing mentioned when discussing the wildest experiences someone had ever been through. Because of that belief, he continued breaking down the story from different angles and challenging parts of the narrative that didn't fully add up to him. Those comments quickly got people talking because they hinted that there could be more to the story than fans had heard over the years. What made his perspective stand out even more was his past connection to both 50 Cent and Tony Yayo. For a long time, their relationship appeared solid, and many people viewed them as being part of the same tight-knit circle. Reports over the years have suggested that the relationship eventually took a turn after disagreements tied to a bond situation, and from that point, the tension reportedly grew at a rapid pace. Stories that have circulated for years claim the issues became much bigger after accusations that 50 Cent chose not to provide help with the bond. Once the release happened, the fallout was no longer something people could ignore, and the situation became a major topic of discussion.
Doc Intelligence was in the studio. A dude named Gangsta Lou from Linden was in the studio. We was all there chilling, right? We was doing the mastermind.
Smurf was there?
Smurf was there. Yeah, Yayo was there and Banks was there, as a matter of fact. Also, yeah, they was on that, but Banks wasn't Banks at the time. He was Lazy Lloyd. He wasn't dealing with 50 at that time, right? So
fans still bring up the explosive radio confrontation that followed, a heated back and forth that many people connect with Hot 97. That exchange has remained one of the most talked about moments from that period and continues to spark debate whenever the history is revisited. Because Domination was around during that era, some people believe he may have had first-hand insight into events that the public mostly learned about through rumors, interviews, and second-hand stories. That possibility is part of what made his comments grab so much attention.
Waiting to record, there's a dude named Storm P, he's from Baisley Projects. He actually ended up being managed by Superstar J. I don't know if that's still true to this day, but he was nice. He was doing this beat. I don't recall the beat, but his bars was hard. I recall the bars. He said, I dodged potholes, man, so I don't f my rims.
One of the biggest topics linked to those years was 50 Cent's feud with Supreme and the series of events that many people believe contributed to later conflicts. At that point in his career, 50 Cent was making huge moves in hip-hop and had built a reputation for challenging established figures without backing down. Around that same time, 50 Cent released How to Rob, a record that instantly sent shockwaves through the rap world because of its bold approach. The track had people talking everywhere as he mentioned and challenged numerous artists, putting himself right in the middle of major conversations across the industry. It was the kind of release that demanded attention and made it impossible for people to overlook his name. At that stage of his career, 50 Cent was building serious momentum and moving through the music business at full speed. Nearly every move he made created headlines, sparked reactions, and gave fans something new to discuss.
You dodge puddles so you don't your Timbs. And I was like, whew. He was young at the time, like I aged 18, 17 around that time. I'm like, oh, this nigga's nice. He's like, he was spitting that pain. So 50 came in the studio while we was in the studio and he heard that. And he said, yo, who beat is that? Like, yo, I'm jumping on that. He ain't even asked boy that actually did the beat. He just said, yo, I'm jumping on that.
His profile was growing rapidly, and his presence in hip-hop was becoming harder to ignore with each passing month. According to stories that have circulated over the years, though, he may have found himself involved in a complicated situation without fully realizing how many connections existed behind the scenes. From his point of view, he was simply a rapper, appearing on a hot record and working alongside people he already knew or felt comfortable around. On the surface, everything seemed normal because many of the people involved shared mutual relationships and appeared familiar with one another. There were no obvious signs suggesting that larger issues might be developing in the background. However, according to long-discussed accounts, there were underlying tensions that weren't immediately visible. What looked like a routine collaboration may have carried much deeper significance because of the relationships connecting various people involved. As the story is often told, once certain lyrics and comments began attracting attention, people started looking much more closely at the situation and the circles surrounding it. Reports and stories discussed for years claim that the artist behind the track had ties to the same neighborhood networks associated with Ja Rule and individuals connected to his camp.
So the engineers let him jump on the track. He said, rumor last year, 50 got bagged. Rumor this year, 50 got stabbed. What's the rumor next year? 50 got mad and tore Ja head off with the 4-4 mag. He said something about my baby mom's a wild out and stabbed me worse than that. You know?
Because of those reported connections, once 50 Cent allegedly began taking verbal shots on the record, word is said to have traveled fast through those circles. From there, the situation reportedly became an even bigger topic of conversation, with more people paying attention to how those relationships could influence future events and rivalries. According to the version of events being discussed, information eventually made its way to Ja Rule Supreme and others connected to that side of the situation, causing tensions to climb even higher. As the story has been told over the years, the person connected to the song reportedly moved quickly to explain his position and distance himself from the controversy before assumptions started spreading. According to those accounts, he was basically saying, yo, 50 jumped on the track and started saying all that stuff. I didn't know he was gonna do that. Don't put that on me. He reportedly wanted people to understand that he had not planned, encouraged, or approved the comments being made on the record. Stories surrounding the situation suggest he felt pressure to protect his own reputation because, without a clear explanation, others might have believed he was responsible for what was said on a song connected to people within his circle.
From Baisley, so 9 times out of 10, his management team was from Baisley. Supreme is from Baisley, right? I'm not privy to what happened after that, to what happened if Preem called 50 or not, or what was being said. I'm not privy to that. I do know that after that studio session, the next day,
after those conversations allegedly took place, many observers believe the situation became much more serious behind closed doors. While the exact details remain heavily debated, and not everyone agrees on what happened, some people view that period as a major turning point in the growing rivalry. The atmosphere surrounding the conflict reportedly became more intense, and discussions about the issue spread even further through the hip-hop community. According to stories shared and debated for years, tensions between the different camps escalated rapidly after that. What may have started as a controversial song was now being viewed by many as part of a much larger dispute, with every new development drawing additional attention and speculation.
I went to the block around 12 o'clock, something like that, and they like, yo, 50 got shot early. So we all go to the back blocks. It's taped off. So we actually honestly thought he was dead. We didn't know he made it. We thought he was dead.
The discussion also opened the door to another debate among fans. Many argued that hip-hop veterans are revealing more behind-the-scenes stories than ever before, bringing long-forgotten moments back into public conversation and sparking brand-new arguments years later. Social media users were especially surprised by how openly some of these topics were being discussed, particularly when the conversation touched on old street history, industry rivalries, and major rap conflicts involving names as well-known as 50 Cent. The more details that surfaced, the more people seemed eager to revisit events that have remained a source of fascination for years. The interview immediately sparked strong reactions because it brought attention back to events that many fans view as some of the most controversial and heavily discussed moments in hip-hop history.
I come from a place where you have to be ready. Don't get ready, you gotta be ready, right? I would layer things around me to prepare for.
Listeners quickly locked in as old stories, long-running debates, and unanswered questions resurfaced once again. One detail that stood out to many people was the reminder that the shooting involving 50 Cent was a real criminal case that has been discussed for years. The circumstances surrounding that incident have remained the subject of debate for a long time, with different accounts, opinions, and interpretations continuing to circulate. The fact that conversations about it still attract attention today shows just how much impact those events had on hip-hop culture.
Right? When I reverse, I said, I seen the car coming. I'm trying to be considerate. But I thought 50 saw it, so he ain't say nothing. But when I turned around, I'm like, yo, who this? I seen somebody jumping out the car. He seen the car, but he didn't see the person jump out the car. That's what I mean.
Because of that, some viewers felt uneasy hearing old rumors and long-discussed claims being brought back into public discussion yet again. For some, it was fascinating to hear these topics revisited, while others questioned whether reopening certain chapters would only create more controversy and speculation. Even though Domination reportedly made it clear during the interview that, "Man, certain things I can't speak on," some listeners were still left wondering why he chose to discuss certain aspects of the situation at all. That question quickly became one of the biggest points of debate among fans after clips from the conversation started circulating online. As those clips spread across social media, the conversation grew beyond the stories themselves and evolved into a much larger discussion.
I asked him, who this? He like, I'm waiting for a response. And the response I get was, oh, so I'm like, oh, when I turned and started shooting. So I forgot the car was in reverse. I'm thinking the car's in drive. So when I step on the gas, I hit their car. Thinking that I was gonna go forward, I went backwards.
Many people began debating why so many hip-hop veterans and longtime figures are now turning to podcasts, interviews, and online platforms to revisit events from decades ago. Some fans fully support it, arguing that people who witnessed important moments firsthand deserve the chance to tell their side of the story and provide context that wasn't available at the time. Others see it differently and believe some situations are better left in the past, especially when they involve serious real-world events and consequences. As the interview continued making rounds online, the internet quickly split into opposing camps, with both sides strongly defending their opinions and debating the value of revisiting old stories. Some people feel Dom's perspective carries weight because he was reportedly around during the early G-Unit era and had connections to several of the individuals involved. To those supporters, this isn't just random chatter or recycled rumors. They see it as a rare glimpse into stories that have been discussed behind the scenes for years, but rarely addressed in such a public setting.
So when I went backwards, I hit my head. That froze me. But he said he didn't get shot to this point here when it froze me. That's when the gunman came around the car and he shot us. But in that process, the girl was screaming, and she like, drive, drive.
On the other hand, plenty of critics remain unconvinced and continue questioning how accurate every detail really is. They argue that some of the claims sound exaggerated, contain inconsistencies, or seem perfectly positioned to create buzz during a viral interview moment. For those viewers, it's important to separate personal opinions and recollections from verified facts. Many fans also noticed what they believe is a familiar pattern. They pointed out that old rap feuds, industry rivalries, and controversial moments often find their way back into the spotlight whenever a major podcast episode starts gaining attention online. Because of that, the discussion has become about much more than a single story. It has turned into a broader debate over whether decades-old narratives should continue being revisited in public. The timing of these revelations became a major topic all on its own.
So that's what woke me up. And I drove down the block, and I drove him to the hospital.
Okay, and so did you reverse the car at all after you kind of started to take off?
I just told you I had the car in reverse. I said that.
Okay, let me explain that. Sorry, bro. Let me explain a little bit better. So,
countless viewers immediately started asking why these stories were being discussed now instead of years ago. Even with all the disagreement, skepticism, and debate surrounding the interview, most people seem to agree on one thing. It reignited conversations about one of the most dramatic, talked about, and influential eras in hip-hop history. The early 2000s were packed with rivalries, competition, and personal conflicts that often felt larger than life. For fans who experienced that era firsthand, hearing those stories brought up memories of a time when tensions between different camps seemed intense, unpredictable, and almost impossible to escape. It was a period when headlines were constantly being made, and every new development became a major topic of discussion. Social media jumped into the conversation almost immediately. Every clip that surfaced sparked fresh reactions, with fans analyzing every statement, debating every claim, and sharing their own theories about what really happened behind the scenes. The discussion spread fast, and interest only seemed to grow with each new clip that appeared online.
I start to take off. At any point, did you guys
Yeah. I see what you said. Yeah, I did reverse back when 50 told me he had a gun. I did reverse back. I didn't think you wanted me to say. I see what you did. You went and you seen what I said before. All right, yeah. I had a gun. Yeah, we had guns in the car. I backed up. I said, yo, I was gonna go back to shoot.
What drew even more attention to the interview was the way Domination told his stories. He came across as calm, confident, and completely at ease while discussing situations that many hip-hop fans consider legendary chapters of rap history. That delivery style made a strong impression on viewers and kept people locked into the conversation. Because he didn't appear hesitant or unsure, some viewers felt he genuinely believed everything he was saying. That confidence became one of the biggest reasons the clips spread so quickly across the internet and generated so much debate. At the same time, supporters of 50 Cent were quick to challenge the interview and question the motivation behind revisiting these stories. Some argued that bringing up old G-Unit history looked like an effort to reconnect with a famous era and remain part of the conversation. Others questioned why these accounts were surfacing now if they were truly as important as being described. Another detail that caught plenty of attention was the way Cameron handled the discussion, with many viewers closely watching his reactions throughout the interview.
But he was already hurt, and Shorty was like, yo, take him to the hospital, take him to the hospital. So I took him to the hospital. I couldn't take hearing what she was saying. She was all hysterical. I had to get her out the car. So when I got her out the car, it was just me and Fit. I wasn't from Queens, so I told him to stay up. Yo, you gotta direct me to the...
Rather than constantly cutting in or steering the conversation in a different direction, Cameron mostly allowed the stories to unfold on their own. That approach gave the interview a raw, unfiltered vibe that kept viewers fully engaged and eager to hear what would be said next. With every new claim and every surprising detail, more people found themselves pulled deeper into the debate. Whether viewers believed the stories or questioned them, almost everyone seemed to have an opinion. The interview quickly became one of those conversations where people felt compelled to pick a side, share their thoughts, and debate the details with others online. As more clips started going viral, fans began digging through old interviews, radio appearances, street DVDs, and archived footage connected to G-Unit's rise. People compared timelines, revisited long-discussed rumors, and searched for details that might support or challenge the claims being made. The deeper people looked, the more complicated the discussion became, because different individuals often remembered the same events in very different ways. Some listeners believed domination was finally bringing attention to details that had never been fully explained in public. Others felt certain stories may have grown larger over time or been reshaped through years of retelling. No matter where people stood on the issue, the interview undeniably pushed old G-Unit history back into the spotlight and turned it into one of the most talked about topics online once again.
To the hospital. So he directed me to the hospital.
Were you shot at this time?
I didn't know I was shot until I got to the hospital.
Where were you shot at?
I got shot in my left hand. It went in and out.
You didn't even know you were shot for all that time driving and everything?
Nah, I ain't know I was shot. The way, like, it went through my flesh, like it.
Others remained skeptical and weren't fully convinced by everything they heard. They felt some real events may have become blended with exaggeration, making certain stories sound more dramatic than they originally were. That's a big reason why reactions online became so divided. While some viewers accepted every claim without hesitation, others continued questioning parts of the interview and wondered whether certain details had been amplified over the years as the stories were passed around and discussed. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's name continued trending across social media because whenever old controversies or long-discussed stories connected to him resurface, people tend to pay attention almost immediately. His name has a way of drawing interest, and this situation was no different as fans rushed online to share opinions, reactions, and theories about the interview. At the same time, many viewers started watching closely to see whether anyone from the G-Unit side would respond publicly, challenge the claims, or choose to stay completely silent. Given 50 Cent's well-known social media presence, plenty of people expected jokes, trolling, or even a direct response if the clips continued gaining traction and spreading across the internet. One thing was undeniable. The interview brought old conversations back to life and reopened debates that many people believed had been left behind years ago. Some fans believe certain stories are better kept private, while others argue that behind-the-scenes accounts are an important part of hip-hop history and deserve to be heard. No matter where people stand, one thing is obvious. This conversation has exploded across the internet and sparked major debate among fans everywhere. Every new clip, reaction, and opinion seems to add another layer to an already heated discussion. The biggest question now is whether this interview provided valuable insight into one of hip-hop's most talked-about eras, or whether some topics should have remained out of the public spotlight. That's exactly why so many people are still debating it, and why the conversation doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. What do you think? Was this a rare look behind the curtain of rap history? Or did the interview cross a line by revisiting certain situations? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this topic has everybody talking right now. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share to help the channel grow and to stay updated on more hip-hop stories, viral moments, and industry drama. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.